Hi guys, welcome back to Nairobi Legal Insights. In today's video, we're going to be focusing on cohabitation in the Kenyan context. The key objectives of this video is for you to appreciate the meaning of cohabitation within the Kenyan legal context and also understand the distinction between a marriage and a presumption of marriage. When we talk about the doctrine of presumption of marriage, I want us to first appreciate what does to cohabit mean. Now, when you check under the Marriage Act of Kenya 2014 and specifically under Section 2, to cohabit means a man and a woman live together in an arrangement that resembles a marriage. Remember that in this case, such a man and a woman are unmarried, but they hold themselves as though they're husband and wife. And as you can already see here, cohabitation entails long-term continuous living together of a couple, holding themselves out as husband and wife, but in absence of any formal marriage, meaning that there is no marriage in place. But society views such a man and a woman as husband and wife. The next key question is whether the Marriage Act of Kenya 2014 recognizes cohabitation. Now, in our previous video, we talked about the different types of marriages recognized within the Republic of Kenya, and cohabitation was never one of them. One thing we need to understand as a family law student is that cohabitation is a presumption of marriage and it is not a marriage in itself. So there's a distinction between a marriage and a presumption of marriage. And as far as a presumption of marriage is concerned, it can only be proved by way of evidence, meaning that if person A and B have been cohabiting as husband and wife, and they have invested together, maybe they have children together, they own property together, society views them as husband and wife, that is considered a presumption of marriage. It's cohabitation, but it is not marriage in itself, because we have the 5 different types of marriages recognized in Kenya, and cohabitation is not one of those types of marriages. The next key point we need to understand is that we can have a situation whereby maybe a man and a woman hold a ceremony, they go ahead to live together for a long period of time, and society sees them as husband and wife. That will give rise to the first type of a presumption to a marriage. The next type of a presumption to a marriage is that we can also have a situation whereby a man and a woman have not held any ceremony, but simply live together as husband and wife, and society also views them as a husband and wife. That too will give rise to the second type of a presumption to a marriage. So the essence of this particular slide is for you to appreciate that where a man and a woman have the capacity to get married and they actually live together as husband and wife, that is going to give rise to a presumption to a marriage. So it doesn't matter whether they held a ceremony or not. As far as the first discussion was concerned, we may have a ceremony, while in the second instance we may not have a ceremony, but living together for a long period of time and being seen in society as husband and wife gives rise to a presumption of marriage. In addition to the previous slide, please remember to read the case of Hortensia Wanjiku. It's a very key case in the Kenyan legal context as far as presumption to a marriage is concerned. And in this particular case, a couple had lived together for a period of 9 years and they were seen as husband and wife, and this gave rise to a presumption of marriage. So if you need a case law to back up your discussions, consider actually using the principles from the case of Hortensia Wanjiku. And of course, the takeout point here again is that long cohabitation as a man and a wife gives rise to a presumption of marriage, meaning that someone can only challenge you that you're not husband and wife if they actually have evidence to the contrary. The next key case that brings out the presumption of marriage is the case of Mary Njoki versus John Kinyanjui. And in this particular case, the principle that comes out here is that we can also have a presumption of marriage that comes into existence as a result of a couple living together for a long period of time, and that couple having children and even going ahead to invest together. Remember, in this particular instance, society will view such a couple as husband and wife. And so consider also reading the case of Mary versus Kenya Jui to see how a presumption of marriage will arise simply because a couple has invested together, they have children together, and they have been together for a long period of time. Remember that in Kenya, not everyone has a recognized form of marriage, meaning that people could have been living together for several years, but their marriage union has not been formalized. And this is the essence of the presumption of marriage. It helps people to be conferred upon the status of wife or husband, as you can see from this particular slide. In our next video, we're going to be looking at child maintenance. So please consider subscribing so that you receive notifications every single time we post a new video on family law in Kenya.